What's up, guys? Welcome back to Michigan Muckraker. My name is Michelle. Today is April 12th of 2023, and I stumbled upon a fabulous article between Davos, the interviewer, and Michigan Economic Devlopment Corporation, the interviewee. So I'm not going to mess around. We're going to jump right into this. If you like this type of content, consider smashing that like button and subscribing. Share with everyone you know. Hopefully everything is good sound-wise. All right, so we have a video to watch, but I'm going to wait until the end. I want to get into the article right off the bat. The future rides on Michigan. To decarbonize our planet, mitigate the ever-increasing climate change problem, and build a more sustainable future, changing the way we transport is essential. Before I go any further, I need to address this. To decarbonize our planet. Why do we want to decarbonize our planet? Who says that we want to do that, and why? Mitigate the ever-increasing climate change problem. I'm not going to get into climate change, but it definitely helps them push forward their narrative, the climate change problem, and build a more sustainable future. Changing the way we transport is essential. So, sustainable, always think Agenda 21, Sustainable Development Plan. It's what they're using. I want to get into carbon. So I'm going to show you this article I got out of the Scientific American. This is an observation by Robert M. Hazen. Why carbon? Musings on a Symphony in C. Now I gotta say, when I read this article is beautifully written. I appreciate his prose. Robert Hazen is one of 5 expert speakers on Scientific American's 175th anniversary cruise to the Americas in March 2020. Just so you know who he is, look around you. Carbon is everywhere, in the paper of every book, the ink on its pages, and the glue that binds it, in the soles and leather of your shoes, the synthetic fibers and colorful dyes of your clothes, and the Teflon zippers and Velcro strips that fasten them. In every bite of food you eat, in beer and booze, in fizzy water and sparkling wine, in the carpets on your floors, the paint on your walls, and the tiles on your ceilings. In fuels, from natural gas to gasoline to candle wax, in sturdy wood and polished marble, in every adhesive and every lubricant, in the lead of pencils and in the diamond of rings, in aspirin and nicotine, codeine and caffeine, and every other drug you've ever taken, and every plastic from grocery bags to bicycle helmets, cheap furniture to design sunglasses, from your first baby clothes to your silk-lined coffin, carbon atoms surround you. Carbon is the giver of life. Your skin and hair, blood and bone, muscle and sinews all depend on carbon. Sinews. I'm sorry. I'm butchering the prose, and I really didn't want to do that. I apologize. Bark, leaf, root, and flower, fruit and nut, pollen and nectar, bee and butterfly, Doberman and dinosaur, all incorporate essential carbon. Every cell in your body, indeed every part of every cell, relies on a sturdy backbone of carbon. The carbon of a mother's milk becomes the carbon of her child's beating heart. Carbon is the chemical essence of your lover's eyes, hands, lips, and brain. When you breathe, you exhale carbon. When you kiss, carbon atoms embrace. It is easier for you to list everything you touch that lacks carbon. Aluminum cans in your fridge, silicon microchips in your iPhone, gold filings in your teeth, other oddities, than to enumerate even 10% of the carbon-bearing objects in your life. We live on a carbon planet, and we are carbon life. So, explain to me how, when they have a goal to decarbonize the planet, that it's not anti-life. That's just logic to me. And they say it. Sorry, I had to go on that little rant because that, and I will share this article. Excuse me. It goes on, but I'm not going to continue on that path. I will link it down below so you can. It's an excellent article. So, I'm sorry, I have a little tickle in my throat, but I think it just went away. We're back on track. The transportation industry currently accounts for around 30% of global carbon emissions, with 72% of the emissions coming from road transportation. Seeking out cleaner and greener ways of transport is key to tackling the climate change problem. And again, the problem is only because we think carbon is bad when carbon is life. So the whole premise doesn't make any sense if you think about it logically. Michigan is leading in the race toward a cleaner future with its heritage as the driving force behind America's auto industry. In fact, 1 in every 5 jobs in Michigan is tied to the mobility industry, and the state ranks first in mobility and automotive research and development. We give the most money. Driven by the Michigan Economic Devlopment Corporation, MEDC, the state's marketing arm with a fist at the end, Michigan is a leader in mobility and electric vehicle innovation. It has a clear vision and is evolving to become more competitive while addressing demands to be more green. The state acknowledges the opportunity it has to set new global standards for economic development, workforce, energy, and infrastructure. It also realizes that the transition to a more equitable mobility future will need to involve considerable collaboration, R&D, innovation, and deliberate reimagining of mobility systems. Again, all of this is whose idea? Like, who voted for these people? Real quick, Davos, the interviewer, promoting the world's innovators. This is just a quick about us. A platform for prominent figures, including heads of state, experts, and academics, innovators, and the world's foremost CEOs, to debate the current financial climate and share their ideas in an open and impartial space with the aim of driving positive change. Now, define positive change. Because if you believe in Malthusian's theory of population, then you think the world is overpopulated and we're destroying it, and so positive change might be to get rid of human beings, some of the human beings on the planet, and that would be good. That would be a positive change. But where I sit, that is not a positive change, because I know that the world isn't overpopulated and that this was made for us. And so this anti-human, anti-life agenda is not positive for humanity. It's only positive for a small group of people, and they're out in the open about it. They just post it. This is DavosInterviews.com. Anchored in both public and private sectors, with the opportunity to shape agendas on an industrial, regional, and global level. The campaign will be covered in detail, with veteran news presenter Andrew Wilson facilitating discussion and providing regular updates via several established global media groups. So I think that's pretty much everything you need to know there. We'll get back to this. The Office of Future Mobility and Electrification, OFME, is a first-of-its-kind organization creating more equitable and environmentally conscious transportation options in Michigan and the world. This is being achieved by increasing mobility investment, expanding smart infrastructure, and engaging more mobility startups. Whenever you hear smart, that's another keyword that unfortunately means surveillance. Trevor Paugh, the first chief mobility officer in the United States, explains the efforts MEDC has already made to advance the EV industry in Michigan. Yeah, give hundreds of millions, billions of our taxpayer dollars to bribe EV sector to come to Michigan. Oh yeah, and we also have a lot of water, which EV batteries, the creation of them and everything in between, everything else, anything to do with EV batteries, they need water to cool it down, to create it, all that. So Michigan's perfect for them. We are bringing together government and industry in a way that can roll out new technologies as quickly as possible to make communities greener, safer, more productive, and be able to uphold a person's dignity a bit more than we did yesterday. I don't even know what that means. Uphold a person's dignity by bringing government and industry together. Big government, big business working together. And yet that's going to help us with our dignity. But as Paul points out, winning the battle of achieving sustainable growth is not a one-person job. Collaborations between brilliant minds and sectors are vital. Everyone in the state is playing a critical part in making this a reality. For instance, the MEDC has invested $6.8 million in university business partnerships, and the state is preparing close to 15,000 graduates with degrees in high demand by mobility industry, according to Dr. Brittany Affolter-Kane, Executive Director, University Research Corridor. That's interesting. The MEDC has invested $6.8 million in university business partnerships. Well, I'm sure Fair State got some of that. Denise Gray, head of Internal Affairs and Government Relations at LG Energy Solution, the South Korea-based battery maker who most recently invested $1.7 billion in Michigan, affirms that MEDC summons all of the leaders in the state of Michigan to come together to figure out how we increase our talent pool so that we can really move forward when it comes to the technology that we need today in order to power the vehicles that we have tomorrow. Michigan also acknowledges the work that they do will ultimately have an impact beyond their borders to curb transportation emissions globally, as described by Cynthia Hutchinson, CEO of World Economic Forum's United States Center for Advanced Manufacturing. That's in Troy, Michigan. There really are no borders to environmental impact. Environmental impact does not stop at the Indiana border. It doesn't stop at California. It infiltrates all of us, so we need to be very conscious of that. Yeah. The MEDC has cemented its pioneering status of growing talents and technology and boosting sustainable growth for Michigan, the country, and the world. So yeah, I don't know what you think about that, but the keywords were all there: equitable, private-public partnership, decarbonize. Again, read this article for yourself. It is a beautifully written article. I appreciate you, Robert Hazen. We're going to get into this video and see what they have to say.
Michigan is America's high five. But it's also like the home of Motown. It's a place that has more freshwater coastline than anywhere else in the country. I mean, you look at from Cadillacs to Corvettes. I mean, where else would you want to go? I'd want to be in Michigan.
I think about those in Michigan as looking out not just for people who live in Michigan and solutions for Michigan, but looking out for solutions that will be applicable abroad.
There's something in Michigan that everyone can find a value in.
I love Michigan, but I don't want them here.
So as of 2017, global emissions from the transportation sector passed that of the built infrastructure, that factories, homes. So if we can curb transportation emissions, we can take a big dent out of what's happening right now in our world in relation to climate change. And where else to do that but Detroit? I am Trevor Paul, and I'm the Chief Mobility Officer for the state of Michigan. So the role of a Chief Mobility Officer is a first in America, bringing together government and industry in a way that can roll out new technologies as quickly as possible to make communities greener, safer, more productive, and be able to uphold a person's dignity a bit more than we did yesterday. Just by 2030, we're expected to see a $3.3 trillion mobility industry. It's important that the state have a centralized approach, or a body, a brain center,
A centralized
to think
approach.
about that every single day. And that's what the Michigan Economic Development Corporation does.
Yeah. They are centralized power.
There really are no borders to environmental impact. Environmental impact doesn't stop at the Indiana border, it
They
doesn't
repeat
stop
some
in
of them.
California, it infiltrates
I didn't
all
know
of us,
that.
so we need to be very conscious of that. We're beginning to see people gravitate towards Michigan as the place where you can get it done right, from manufacturing to understanding the guidelines, to understanding what a recall looks like and how to avoid them, and keeping people safe.
The state of Michigan has been extremely helpful when it comes to recognizing the future, not just resting on its laurels of today and yesterday. We do that because of the extreme research and development mindset of the people that are living in Michigan, the people that are working in Michigan, and the industry leaders that come together on a regular basis to figure out what do we need to do differently?
Yeah, and
where
they
do we
spend
want
our
to
money.
go? And they do it in an open mind.
Industries are now
open
converging
mind,
around
but
four
not an open
foundational
forum.
platforms: autonomous, connected, shared, and electric. And the thing is, we've been focused on those platforms for years in automotive, and now we can leverage that competitive advantage to drive other industries forward.
This is the epicenter of manufacturing. We have an exclusive relationship to be the one and only advanced manufacturing center partnered with the World Economic Forum in the U.S.
Michigan has a few things going for it. We have
have a lot.
96 of the top 100 automotive suppliers. 1 in every 5 jobs in Michigan is tied to the mobility industry. It's a part of our economy that actually brought a lot of the people that live here now here in the first place.
There's a place for young people to explore. There's a place for mid-career to raise their families. There's a place for seniors to live and explore. The state itself is set up to, of course, welcome and help that talent grow themselves. Michigan's
Grants.
University Research
We give a
Corridor,
lot of
or
money.
URC, was founded in 2006 by the 3 university presidents at the time. The purpose being to look to one another to be able to measure what impact these 3 research-intensive institutions have on the state of Michigan. We found that collectively our 3 universities prepared close to 15,000 graduates with degrees in high demand by the mobility industry. We were producing significantly more degrees in those fields than places like Silicon Valley, Southern California, Texas, Pittsburgh, Boston, and Research Triangle Park in North Carolina.
Yeah, they
So
want us to be
public-private
renewed.
partnerships, people talk a lot about these. This is sort of the gold standard if you want to get something done. No one can do it on their own. So you want to make sure that you're getting public institutions involved as well as members of industry. We have a number of partnerships in the mobility space, and it really does do a
Man,
lot of work to
look at that
foster
surveillance
the
state we got
direction
going on.
of our research portfolios when we work with companies that help us understand what sorts of innovations they're looking for. We can work with them and utilize the expertise and the infrastructure of our research institutions.
More and more
The
like
Michigan
China.
Economic Development Corporation summons all of the leaders in the state of Michigan, General Motors, Ford, LG Energy Solution, Bosch, you name it, to come together to figure out how do we increase our talent pool so that we can really move forward when it comes to the technology that we need today in order to power the vehicles that we have tomorrow.
It's the people in Michigan who have I will use the term grittiness, but I mean gritty in a really good way. There's a resilience and a desire to be problem solvers, not for recognition, not out of arrogance, but really out of a belief
Yes.
that we have the ability to do
Michiganders are good
something better
workers.
and helpful to others.
What I've seen, I mean, obviously, it's
Michigan has been a
Everybody's
test bed
different,
for the
but
future of transportation
always lazy
for more than a
people
century.
everywhere.
We're the home of the 3-color traffic signal, the first paved road. And now as vehicles are changing in ways that they haven't in 100 years, so is the environment around the vehicle.
So Detroit has been the focal point when it comes to automotive transportation for decades. It's a nucleus for workers. Workers when it comes to those who have experience in automotive technology, those who have experience in continuing to evolve the technology from internal combustion engines to battery electric vehicles, to hydrogen vehicles, to whatever the next will be.
We're living through a
why not
tumultuous
hydrogen
time.
vehicles?
In tumultuous times, you tend to lean on the most experienced people, teams.
Music.
Michigan's also a place where you can
Hopefully
take
I
a
don't get
really hard problem like a world
trouble.
war and create the entire manufacturing system and ensure that democracy continues. That's the
Democracy?
weighty heritage that these people carry with them. And as we head into new 21st century challenges, there's another opportunity for this generation of Michiganders to step up.
Well, I've been hearing a lot about public-private partnerships, and so far what it means to me is I don't get a vote on these huge projects. Michigan Economic Devlopment Corporation centralized the power. So, let me know what you think. Do you think that it's a good thing to have Davos so interested in Michigan? Do you see no problem with Davos? I mean, there are people that feel that way, so And of course, this is still America, and you are still allowed to, as of right now, to feel how you want. And hopefully that continues. But you have to fight for freedom, so I appreciate you guys joining me. If you found value in this video, please smash the like button, and I will see you in the next video.